Hold on, time is wasting. So drawn to your bright light. No more hesitating. So drawn to your bright light.
Brighter Light Podcast. This is Anthos, and today we got the homie Bailey. Bailey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's good.
Thank you for coming on today.
I'm hoping it's going to be fun.
It will be fun.
Let's
I've been
see.
wanting to talk to you for a minute, and we talked about some things that I thought would be great for the show. And finally, you are on.
Yep, I'm here.
So, where you're out in Newfoundland.
Yeah, it's in Canada.
How do you guys say it?
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Yeah, it's the most easterly point in Canada.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that an island?
It is an island. It's an island in the Atlantic. So we get all the icebergs and the cold water and the cold air. Do you see where this is going?
Cold.
It's cold. It's really cold.
What about today?
Oh, today was actually really warm. It was like 24. I don't know what that is in your temperatures.
Wait a minute.
I'm Canadian, dude.
Celsius.
Yeah. Now you can translate that if you want, but I have no idea how.
You listeners, you guys can translate that yourselves.
Or you can just cut that.
Right. No, whatever. Maybe we're just the dummies. So, yeah, there's some interesting stuff that I talked to you about before that made me want to really get you on here to talk about it. I thought it would make for some good, interesting combo. But before we do that, let's give the squares a chance to get away from this.
Yeah, so I guess if you're easily offended, or if you're extremely religious and you're easily offended by people that are not religious,
and you don't have a sense of humor,
or if you don't have a sense of humor, it's probably best if you turn this off. Or you can actually sit in and listen, and you might learn something, you might enjoy it, who knows?
So it's good to have you on, like I was saying before, and I think we talked about you come from a family of a bunch of really devout witnesses, right?
Oh, very devout. My father's an elder. My mother was a regular pioneer. My brothers are ministerial servants. My father's brothers are elders. His sisters are pioneers. His mother's been a pioneer for 30 years.
Wow.
That is the family. It's kind of scary.
Wow. So how many of them are apostates?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I'm alone in this one.
And again, like we want to do in each episode, we want to clarify what an apostate really is. You want to do that, Bailey?
An apostate is simply someone who has changed their beliefs and no longer believes what they once did. So
simple as that.
That's it. And I guess, yeah, like I think I have an uncle that was a witness and isn't anymore, and some cousins, but I'm not really close to any of them.
So there are other ones. There are other ones that.
Yeah, but they're not like me. If that
What do
makes
you
any
mean?
sense. No, they quietly walked away and they weren't in as deep to begin with. Like, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure some of them weren't ever baptized, like that sort
So
of
what?
thing.
What do you mean? Okay, so they quietly walked away. How did you walk away?
I was more of a, well, fuck this and fuck you.
Flip the table over and all that other shit.
You know what? It was pretty much picked up my stuff and said, I'm out, and literally peeled out of the driveway.
Nice.
Yeah, it was, there was a lot of screaming and, oh my God, you can't do this. It was, oh, it's funny looking back, but it was dramatic.
Right.
I'm pretty sure my
But you,
brother started crying at one point. It was, oh,
so
fun
you were
time.
pissed.
I was just done. I was so done.
What what brought you to that moment?
Actually, it was a lot of things. A friend of mine, I need to thank him for this. He went to Bethel, and before he went to Bethel, like a couple days before, he went to a birthday party at a club.
Hmm.
Got into some trouble there, quite a bit actually, and he, I told him he had to go to the elders, or I would, because that's what a good Jehovah's Witness does.
Right.
And he said no. And I went to them, and they pretty much said that I was lying. I had pictures. I
Who
had
said that?
the elders. They said I was lying about it. So then afterwards, like, I forwarded them messages and
Why do you
stuff.
think they did that to you?
Well, it was because he was the golden boy. Like, they needed him to go to Bethel. They needed him to be an example.
So they didn't need you fucking that up. They didn't need you to show that he's fucking that up, which would.
Because I was already, like, blacklisted by this time. So
So you were already a lost cause, and
yeah,
they didn't
they
fuck
didn't need me
somebody.
messing it up. So at one point,
Oh my god!
one of the elders actually said that I lied about contacting him, that I had never actually spoken to him. So
What?
I hauled up my phone records. I was like, no, I had an hour-long conversation with myself. I'm sorry.
Right.
I was mistaken.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness!
Yeah, but he went on to Bethel, and after that, I just kind of, it was just downhill from there. I'm really happy to say that he is no longer one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Wait a minute. So he was able to maintain his position in Bethel and get through that.
He went to Bethel. He left Bethel.
You're leaving out too much.
Oh,
What?
I don't really know what happened. He went to Bethel,
Okay.
and then he left Bethel, and then when he came home, he got his fellowship for not so dry humping, to put it in his words. These are my friends.
So dry. So he actually, they were naked.
Apparently so.
He came in contact with bodily fluids.
That was exactly, yeah. He gave us a very graphic description of that.
She experienced. What? Tell us. We're all adults here. This isn't a kid's show.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah. He, to quote
He-
him, it was not
Did
so
he
dry
fuck her or
humping.
not? Did he fuck or not?
Apparently, he did not fuck her.
Oh, okay.
He did afterwards. Apparently, he's been doing a lot of that. Good for him. I'm proud.
I mean, after he got DF.
And yeah, then he got DF'd, and he's doing really well. And I think that's great. Like, I'm all for that. Oh yeah.
Sorry about that. um, so there was a period where your family was friends with somebody who was a governing body member, right?
Well, he is a governing body member now, but when I knew him, he was not. He was serving at Bethel.
Who is he now?
Who is he now?
Yeah, you said he is a governing body member. What's his
You
name?
know, his name is Mark Sanderson. But at the time, he wasn't. He was a circuit overseer for a number of years before going to Bethel, and I think that's how he met my family. This is before
Is
my
he
time.
is he in any of these videos floating around YouTube?
Oh, I would assume he's in some of them, but I would have to watch through to figure out exactly what ones.
But he's not one of the prominent guys.
I think he's the newest one.
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah, he's the last one to show up.
Yeah, you probably follow them more closely than I do, maybe. I don't
Nah,
know.
I don't know any of their names.
I didn't know until I saw a meme on Facebook and I was like, oh my God, I know that guy.
I know that one cartoonish motherfucker, whatever his name is. And Jehovah says a good person knows. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what he says, but he's just like,
Oh, wow.
a witness would want to avoid such conduct.
Oh, wow.
He like talks to the audience like they're like the
Idiots.
like the Barney show or something.
But don't they
Hey,
all do
Barney.
that?
They do pretty much from the podium and everything.
It's like, you're all idiots, so I'm going to talk really slowly and use really small words.
right.
Unless it's
And then,
the parts I don't want you to read into, and then I'm going to use really big words and talk quickly so you don't.
now, the ones that the parts that I want to really stick, I'm gonna say it really loud and echo in this whole fucking convention. And then I want you to clap to show that you got it.
And then I'm going to pause, and if you don't clap, I'm going to clap myself until you do clap. Oh, good times.
And in the last days, this is how Jesus said it would be.
And it's all
Clap
like
there,
they have
clap there.
cue words. There are cue words. And whenever they say them, everybody claps.
Right.
I don't know why, but they just do. Every time. Good.
Those guys.
Yeah, you know.
So, in your relationship with this guy, what's his name again?
Mark
Mark. I'm gonna gotta remember his name. What's his last name?
Sanderson.
Mark Sanderson. That's right. But you just affectionately knew him as Mark.
Well, he was a friend. He used to come visit every summer, pretty much.
Remind me to get to the elder drunk in the bathtub story. The antique bathtub.
What one?
Remember you told me about that.
What you have
and
to
I said,
understand is this is Newfoundland. In Newfoundland, everybody drinks. I have met one elder in my entire time here that didn't drink, and it wasn't a religious thing. It was he doesn't like the taste of alcohol,
okay.
so he doesn't drink. He is the only one I've ever met, and I'm pretty sure he's the only one I've never seen drunk.
So what about the bathtub?
Actually, I think that was Mark.
Are you serious?
We had a bathtub, and it was okay. The basement of our house wasn't quite finished, and
Okay.
I had this clawfoot tub, and not one of the ones that they have now, the ones that are made to look like an antique. This was an actual antique tub, so it's really heavy. And the
Okay.
reason I'm telling you that is because the floors need to be reinforced to put those in.
Okay.
Because once they're full of water, like they become extremely heavy. So for the meantime, it was sitting in the basement floor, and during a night of drinking, he got in it for a picture.
Oh, no way.
Like there was no water in the tub, and everybody was fully clothed. Thank God.
That's just as ridiculous.
But oh yeah, in the bathtub. And you know what? He wasn't the first or the last. Like
Way.
apparently getting pictures in the clawfoot tub was a cool thing to do.
While drunk?
Well, you wouldn't do it while sober now, would you?
Well, I mean, no. But what I meant by that was like, I picture them with their drink up in the air, like, oh, look at me.
Oh no, one of the best nights I think was a group of elders from here. They were drinking and playing karaoke while wearing ladies' wigs and waving their drinks back and forth. And
Were
they're
they
all tone deaf and none of them know it.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was a good time though.
They are so lucky that this wasn't during a time of smartphones everywhere.
They're lucky I didn't have a smartphone. I'm pretty sure that's why my dad didn't let me have a phone.
Damn.
He gave me a flip phone, but I'm pretty sure that's why he didn't let me get a good, like a decent phone.
Hilarious.
It's because he knew I would be taping the shit out of everything.
That would have been gold.
The number of times I was told, put that camera away.
Right.
Oh.
So, Mark, don't tell me. Sanderson?
Yep.
Mark Sanderson. And I was testing myself just so that the audience knows because I don't know if they noticed that I smoked a little pot while we were talking earlier. So
Oh, and you're blaming the
I may choose
retake
to
on me.
I may choose to cut that out. That I just said that.
It might be wise.
I think I'm going to choose to cut that out. How would I say that? Um, Mark Sanderson. You knew him as Mark, and I remember you telling me that you once got a chance to talk to him about some of the things that you learned.
Well, it was really brief. I spoke to my father at one point, and he asked me why I had never spoken to an elder about my issues with the organization and the questions that I had regarding it. And I said that, well, I've spoken to some, and they like I have questions that they won't answer. And he said, well, you didn't ask me, you didn't ask Mark. You can talk
Right.
to us. So I sat down and I asked my father these questions, and then later I asked Mark. And
What were
well,
the questions? What
well,
did you ask?
I brought up things about the UN. As you know, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they are very, very against the UN. Um,
That's the beast, right?
it is the
Or
beast. Like,
foreign? Right.
I mean, any sign of allegiance with that organization, that is horrible as far as they're concerned.
They committed willful fornication with the beasts, right?
They did. They actually had a membership with them. They were supporters, or they had a membership that said they were supporters of the UN.
Why? I never really asked anybody this. Why did they have that membership?
Honestly, I don't know. In all the research I've done, I don't know, other than the fact that it made them look good with that group.
Non-governmental organization is what they signed up as
They did, and if you read what that means,
voluntarily.
it means that they were supporting and they were helping to educate on the good work that the UN would do.
It's to reap some kind of benefits, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe somebody who's listening to this and is well versed on it. I mean, we can look on Google right now, but this would be a good fun one for you guys to hit us up on.
Yeah, and if
So
they
you
do that,
talked
let
to
me
him
know.
about this?
Yeah, so I brought up their connections and I got the standard answer, the one we've all gotten. They did it so they could have access to libraries, which the UN itself has said is not true, because though
That you don't need that.
no, that information is public knowledge, so you or I could get it, much less an organization.
Right.
Anyone that wants to can get this information. So I said, so what? Give me the real reason. Why did you do it? And why is it such a big like, why does no one know about it? And I got shut down like I always do.
Yeah, you got shut down just like that membership got shut down once it
Yeah, I got
became
a,
public.
well, I'm not discussing this with you. And I mean,
That's a good answer, huh?
well, it was the same one I got during my judicial committee meeting.
Yeah, that's a good answer for everything.
That is the answer I got for everything. I
That's just
recorded
so
that.
unacceptable as an
So
answer.
yeah, like that was the biggest answer I got was, if you're
That's the biggest. That's one of the most basic deceiving answers that you can give.
obvious, yeah.
Just to say, I'm not going to discuss that.
Yeah, and that is a big Jehovah's Witness answer. I'm
Yeah,
not going to discuss that. There are actually questions that you're not allowed
that-
to ask, and
that's right behind. Who told you that, or where'd you learn
which
this?
I also got.
Right.
I recorded my judicial committee meeting, which was actually only a few months ago, very late in coming. Yeah.
Why did you do that though?
Why did I do what?
Why did you go to a judicial committee?
I didn't go. They shut up on my doorstep, and then they came in and they held it in my living room.
Are you serious?
Well, I wouldn't go meet with them.
So wait a minute. 30 minutes before that, you had no idea. You're sitting in your home.
They had said
You're not having any idea that you're about to have a judicial committee, or they
they
told you
had said multiple times they might stop by, but they had stopped by a bunch of times, like in the month before. Mostly they'd stop by and they'd go, "Hey, we're here again. We really need to meet with you." And I'd be
Right.
like, "Okay." And they were like, "Well, you can get someone to watch your kid." My kid at the time was 3 months old. And I'm like, not a chance. Am I leaving my 3-month-old with someone so I can go hang out with you guys? Like, you guys are not important enough to me to,
Right.
no. And they're like, well, we can find someone. I'm like, oh, hell no.
Did they really say that to you?
Oh, yeah. And then they're like, well, you
Cult.
can bring her. And I'm like, I'm not going.
Cult.
I'm not leaving my home to meet with you.
Right.
So then they showed up at my house, and I was like, I don't know why you're here this time, but I can't give you a different answer.
What was the original answer?
I'm not coming to meet with you. In my opinion, I left, and it wasn't worth my time to go out of my way to meet with people that I don't answer to.
Right.
So they show up at my door, and they're like, this is going to be your judicial committee. And I'm like, well, come on in.
Judicial committee for what, though?
You know what? I'm not entirely sure. I would say it has a lot to do, from what I could tell, it had a lot to do with the questions I've been asking and my contact with witnesses.
Apostasy.
Yeah, apparently they don't like my contacting witnesses and telling them that their religion's full of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not like I sat there with the phone book calling around going, hey, so did you know this?
Call around.
I have a life. I'm not banging on their doors.
So how are you talking? How did this happen?
How did what happen?
How did you get accused of apostasy? You weren't going around talking to people.
Started with my parents and then my
Asking
family, and like they'd be like, so are you coming back? Well, why won't you come back? And then I'm not sugarcoating things. You know that. I don't sugarcoat.
No.
So I told them exactly why I wasn't. And then within a couple weeks, it was like, oh, no, we need to meet with you.
Really?
Yeah, because at the time, like up to that point, I had just left. Nothing had ever been announced. Actually, I don't know if you know this or not, I don't think anything has been announced yet, at all.
Really?
Months later, still no announcement.
So they come to your house?
Yeah, they came in, they sat down, they talked, they lasted less than 15 minutes, and they left.
After you told them what, though?
Well, I tried to have a conversation with them, and every time I would try, I got shut down. So I asked them about the UN, and for the first time ever, an elder admitted to knowing what it was, like to knowing what situation I was referring to.
Really?
The other two elders in the room looked at me like they're looking back and forth, and it's like, what is she talking about? What is going on here? What is this conversation about? They had never heard anything about it. And I read people really well, and I tend to know when it's a fake, what are you talking about? And when it's what is going on here? This wasn't fake. It was, they didn't know.
Wow.
And when
they saw the other brother acknowledging it.
And when he acknowledged it, it was like, wait a minute, what just happened? So that was a very short conversation, because as soon as I started mentioning, well, that reason doesn't make sense. It was like, stop. If you are not coming back to our religion, shut up.
Who gives a shit about your United Nations?
We're not talking. We are not going to sit here and debate with you all day because you're not worth our time. You're not coming back anyway.
Right.
And if we keep talking, you might take us out with you. Yeah, like it was like, we're just going to walk away now. And then, of course, I asked them about the baptism.
What baptism?
Because they pledge themselves to an organization when they get baptized. So I had to ask where in the Bible Jesus decided that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit weren't enough. And they didn't want to talk about that one either.
So none of your questions, they didn't care to answer them.
No, they're really not in the mood to answer any questions. Maybe it's just me.
And they call themselves the truth. So why can't the truth give you answers?
You know what? It's really interesting. I firmly believe that if something is true, the more research you do, the more questions you ask, the more you study into it, the more true it's going to become, or it's going to become more clear to you that it's true.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but, I feel like if study makes you question it and makes you say, hey, maybe this isn't true, then it's not the truth. It's just a theory.
Right.
Right? And no, I think any religion that tells you can't study outside of this, I mean, they won't even let you study the Bible on your own. You have to use their publications to study the Bible.
Someone posted this. Oh God, what was it? I'm gonna look actually because I showed it to a friend of mine. Somebody had this. You might have seen it. A screenshot from a Jehovah's Witness publication where it says personal research. You don't really have time for personal research. Why do personal research when we can do it for you? Just read these publications or something like that.
Oh my
You
God,
didn't you didn't
wow.
see that?
I didn't. I know
Oh,
that. Oh,
you
you have to
gotta see
find that for
this.
me. Because
Oh, I'm gonna show it right now. I'm gonna send it to you.
like, I know a while back there was one, like, in an older publication. It said that don't, they don't condone groups that study the Bible without their publications.
Right.
Groups or
Okay, so
individuals.
I'm
So,
looking at it right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I'm done. You go.
Okay, so I'm looking at it. It's an old watchtower, and in paragraph 4, and it's this first part is highlighted, and it says, how will we put these 4 things into effect? First, study. We may think of study as hard work, as involving heavy research. But in Jehovah's organization, it is not necessary to spend a lot of time and energy in research. For there are brothers in the organization who are assigned to do that very thing, to help you who do not have so much time for this.
That is,
That's
that,
alt at its finest.
like, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I took the time to do my own research.
You
And
don't have time for that. I picture that guy, that animated cartoon
oh
motherfucker.
no, don't do that again.
What's his name?
I have no idea what his name is. I don't know any of their names. Well,
As Jehovah's Witnesses, we want to avoid such conduct.
avoid such conduct as reading the Bible.
Right.
Did you listen to the Australian Royal Commission?
Yes, I did.
Did you
They
hear
were
what they
lying.
interviewed one of the governing body members?
They were lying so much on the stand it wasn't even funny.
Did you hear what he said about the whole believing that their God or their religion was the only true one?
Yeah, he said it would be very presumptuous of us to believe that we were the only true organization. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah, and I'm
I
sitting here
couldn't believe
like,
that.
do you know that presumptuous is not a good thing? Like,
If I were right,
do you know what that word means, or is that another one of your words?
if I were a witness and I saw him answer that way, I would have flipped the table over.
I'm pretty. That would have been it. I would have been.
That would have been it for me.
That would have been me walking up the
Because
door.
they drilled it in our heads that they absolutely are the only true organization.
And it's not presumptuous because, you know, they have proof. They don't have to presume anything. Yeah,
Right.
no. It was a huge
Yeah, I
fail
couldn't
moment.
believe that. And another one was the uh, spanking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How
They're
many times
totally
kids
against that.
get
Totally against that one, I'm sure.
I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that. You got it frowned upon if you didn't spank a child when they think it was in order.
Yeah, like the number of times I heard that child needs a good smack.
Yeah.
Okay then. Yeah, let's talk to our kids. No. And even if they weren't telling you to hit the kid, like your kid could be tiny. That kid's making a noise. Take that kid out back. Why is that kid in here?
That is so true.
Well, the kid's like a month and a half old. Your
Look at the
Bible
parents.
says to bring them from infancy on up. Come on. Apparently Jesus
they-
didn't like kids as much as the Bible says he did.
Right. They would look at the parent like, "What is wrong with you? Take care of this."
Oh, and then there was an elder in our hall who firmly believed that when he had children, they would sit there beside him and be perfect little angels because he would be a better parent than every other parent in that hall.
My God.
I'm not gonna lie, when he had kids, it was real funny to watch them squirm and scream and run around in circles because
Oh my God.
they were like little terrors, and it was like, oh yeah, you're a better parent, are you? You see him look at his wife going, do something about it. Oh, good times.
Good times indeed. So, what was it like being an elder's child? What kind of stuff did you witness that most people would know would go on in an elder household or
I don't know because I know like here what was considered normal. Like I know everyone here drank a lot, and it wasn't just me that witnessed that being an elder's daughter. All the witnesses here knew it, and I think it was more of a location thing. Um, I think the crazy things were like me being an adult and people calling my father to tell him what I had done, whether it was a big deal or not. That was always interesting. Um,
what? I mean,
what?
wait, what were you saying? If they
Like, there was one time I got a call from my father, and he's like, someone just called me. Apparently, you were in a public park with a group of people and you were all drinking, and you were making a fool of yourselves. Now,
would you have done something like that?
the funny thing was, I would have, but at this
Okay.
point, I didn't. And none of the people they said they saw in the park had ever been to this park. Like, not even we weren't there that day. We had never, ever, ever been there, and we had never been there together at
So they
any
probably
other
thought
park.
they saw you. They saw somebody else who resembled you.
They saw a group of people, so they assumed it was probably us. And you have to understand, I was not a kid at this point. I was like a 20, 21-year-old living on my own,
Right.
and they called my daddy.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Cult.
Yeah, they called my father, and they're like, speak to your daughter.
Cult.
Oh my god. But yeah,
I mentioned that's cult shit.
oh, it is. It is. And like,
And it's all perfectly normal when you're a witness. It's so funny.
oh, it's so messed up though. Like, they genuinely believe a woman needs a man to control her or to keep her in line.
Yeah.
And they don't care. Like, it's your father until you get married, and then that's your husband's job.
Right.
And you better not wait too long to get married.
So with all this drinking, and now they're getting smashed, they're getting drunk, they're getting tipsy, they're getting buzzed. What are they getting?
Oh, you know what? Well, like, there was one night, it was actually Christmas. I watched someone pass out, and then they ended up puking their guts out for the rest of the night.
Okay, so they're getting smashed.
Yeah, like, and I mean, it all depended on who could hold their liquor best.
Yes, yeah, they're getting smashed.
Like me, I did surprisingly well in the holding your liquor department.
Really?
Some of my relatives, not so much so. Like,
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
like my dad was good. Like, my dad would open a bottle, and it would never, like, there was no putting a cover back on the bottle. Like, I don't know if at any point I saw them, like, I don't think they bothered to keep the lid for a bottle because it wasn't going back on.
Right.
Like, once that bottle was open, doesn't matter how big it is, he's getting emptied.
So when these elders are getting smashed, are they slipping up and doing immoral things that elders should not be doing?
I can say that in front of me, not much.
No.
A little bit of flirting that shouldn't happen, that sort of thing, but not much. And now that could have
What do you mean?
been,
What's flirting that shouldn't happen?
oh, just flirting with people when you're married to someone else.
Oh, okay.
Like, just enough to piss your wife off, sort of thing.
Right.
Or hitting on your wife rather publicly and grabbing your wife's ass publicly, which I think is fine, but in
Yeah, what's
religion
wrong
is
with that?
not fine.
I could see that, but what would be wrong with
My
that?
very prudish mother did not approve.
Wow. And that's purely a display of affection, of love. A man grabs his
But you have
wife's
to
ass.
remember, like, at least here, that had all happened behind closed doors.
He grab her pussy in front of everybody.
Oh, God, I hope not. Not in front of me, thank God. You have to remember, I'm a kid here. A kid who happens to be a child of one of these elders. There are things I don't want to see.
that needs to be behind closed doors. But a kid seeing a man grab his own wife's behind does not need to be behind closed doors,
No, it doesn't, in my opinion. But
right?
you have to remember how the religion is. Like,
I remember.
you rarely see people holding hands.
That's true.
They don't kiss in public. I have an aunt and uncle who are a regular, or he's an elder. They're both regular pioneers. And I swear to God, I don't know how they got my cousin. Because they don't touch at all.
It's
Ever.
funny.
Like, that was one night. Like, that was it. That was an accident. Because they don't do that stuff. They've been married for 30 odd years, but they don't do that stuff.
Oh my God. I assumed that these elders, while they're getting all smashed, because you know how people act when they're smashed. There's people of the opposite sex around, and
But
shit kind of
typically
happens.
their wives are there too. So, and I mean, I've heard of things happening, but I didn't see it firsthand.
Right.
Thank God.
Well, none of the elders were hot that you knew.
All the elders around here are related to me. Like my uncles and stuff. There are things I don't want to see. Remember, small
Right.
island, they're all related.
Oh my God.
Like-
Does everybody look alike over there or something?
Not really.
Okay.
But I mean, like, finding people for my judicial committee, I'm pretty sure that was a difficult feat in itself because I'm related to all of them.
Crazy.
They sent 3 here that I wasn't closely related to. 2 of them are cousins of mine. Now, they're my mom's cousins, so it's distant. But
Right.
they're still related. There is no finding elders that aren't related to me at this point. Not on this
Wow.
island.
How do you like it there?
I hate it.
Yeah? You're sick of it?
No, it's a very, very beautiful place. But it's small, and I know too many people here.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
And where would you, if you could be anywhere, where would you want to live?
I don't know. I would like to move to the US, but I've heard that's really difficult to do. So probably just a different part of Canada where we
Right.
still have free healthcare.
What part of the U.S. were you thinking though?
I don't know. I like the US. I like most parts of the US.
Right.
Unless,
Coasts.
like, I think California would be really cool. Or like
Yeah.
around Maine. I like Maine. Maine reminds me of home.
Right.
Yeah, so what other questions do you have for me? As I'm going, what else are we supposed to be talking about here?
What? Let's see. Okay.
Yeah, see, you should have given me a
How
script.
old were you? How old were you the first time that you engaged in loose conduct?
Oh. I was like 20. 21.
You're like 21?
Yeah.
And what did that consist of for you?
Oh dear.
You told me you wanted another question.
There's actually an ex-JW in one of the groups. She rented a house out to some friends of mine. And I may have gone down on a guy or 2 on her couch. Well, no, it wasn't her couch. It was in her living room, though.
And this was your first time?
Yeah.
2 guys? You blew 2
Not
guys?
the same time. Well,
The same night?
yeah, probably, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
I will say that there was more loose conduct with girls than guys. I don't know why. Probably because we felt like we could get away with it more.
Wow.
I don't know. It was less bad. Who's going to the elders and saying, this
Got my
person
suck.
was fooling around with a girl? Because first off, they're probably not going to believe it. The guys aren't going to say anything about it. And us girls will go, it was a joke. It didn't mean anything. And they'd be like, oh, okay, you guys are always hugging and kissing each other anyway, so whatever.
Really? You guys were allowed to do that?
With girls, yeah.
Wait a minute. You're losing me here. What are you saying?
What am I saying?
What you just said?
I'm confused.
Okay, let's start all over again. Rider Life Podcast, this is Anthony. No, I'm just kidding.
Anthony, it's like 11:30 at night here. We are not doing this all over again. I like you. I don't like you that much.
Just kidding.
Oh,
So yeah, so your first time engaging in loose conduct, you blew two dudes at a party. Was it a party?
yeah.
See, we weren't doing cool stuff like that.
See, once I moved out on my own, we decided we liked parties. We liked
Right?
parties more than we liked get-togethers.
Why wouldn't you?
So at one point, we used to throw blacklight parties. It involved lots of paint.
Wait, witnesses? You saying these are witnesses?
Well, yeah, they're some of
Witnesses
us are
have
still witnesses, some of us aren't.
okay, but
But at the time, we were all witnesses.
all witness, right?
And we would throw these parties, and yeah, sometimes worldly people would show up, but we would drink, and it was all young people,
Right.
and there would be lots of like black lights and glow paint, and the next day the apartment would look like a frat house. But it was, oh man, I had to repaint that ceiling because the bright pink and yellow neon paint wouldn't come off it. It wasn't
So
supposed to go on the ceiling, but drunk people.
it was the black lights and good music that got
It was fun. It was a
us.
lot of fun, and I'm pretty sure there were people doing things they weren't supposed to do all over the house.
Right.
Well, we had like the bedrooms upstairs. They were open to anyone who wanted to use them, I guess. It wasn't.
Man, you guys were way cooler than
It
I was
wasn't
at that
planned
age.
that way, but I mean, shit happened.
Wow.
Like there was more than once I walked in on friends. So, yeah.
You walked in on friends fucking?
Or at various levels, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They are cool as fucking Newfoundland.
And the craziest thing is, most of them are still witnesses. That is the crazy thing, because what they did was they would get married and then they'd settle down and then they'd become good, and anything that happened in the past didn't actually happen.
Yeah, just erased, huh?
That's all in your head. That didn't happen. We don't do that. Yeah. That was, yep. It's good times, though.
So, did somebody tell on you, or did you tell on yourself?
No. Not, oh, there was this one time, there was this ministerial servant. He was a regular pioneer, and he had just come here. I forget his name. But came to help where the need was greater. And he showed up at one of our parties. I'm not sure who invited him. It wasn't me. But he showed up early, and by the time people were actually getting there, he couldn't see straight. Like, the guy was
He's hammered,
out.
huh?
He couldn't walk. I ended up putting him in a bedroom and checking on him every 20 minutes because he was so bad. And I was worried he had, like, alcohol poisoning or something. And then 2 days later, I get a phone call from an elder saying, hey, we got wind of this party. And this person said that you would know about it because you were probably there. But he wasn't. And I said, he knows I was there. He knows I was there because he was there. He's just too wasted to remember any of it.
Wow.
But oh yeah, he thought he would tell on us. Even though he was like the worst one at that party.
Oh my god.
Yep. He was such a doll.
Man, they really have a good way of making people want to tell, huh?
Oh man. And you know what? Like,
You can't keep no secrets as being a witness.
you couldn't. And every time I'd get a phone call, I would sit there. Because they go, do you know what we're calling in regards to? And I'd be like, nope. Because if I say something, you can be guaranteed it's not the reason you're calling. And I just gave myself away.
Wow.
So it was like, I'm always going to say, no, I have no idea why you would be calling me. I have no idea why you're showing up at my house. I have no idea why I'm being called into the back room for the 8th time this month. Like,
Wow.
you know, I have no idea what's going on. And then finally, they removed me as a regular pioneer. They let that go way longer than they should have.
Really?
Oh.
You were probably glad though, right?
I was so happy. Because with my family, I couldn't just say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
There's no way they would have let me get away
That's
with
so
that.
crazy. That is insane.
But them removing me was like the best thing ever. And
So you can't make the decision, this is too hard on me. I just really need to not do this all the fucking time.
Well, at the
And
time,
people, they just wouldn't respect that. Is that what you're saying?
well, no, they were told me to drop something else. And it was like, okay, but no. um,
Don't take these employment opportunities to really do well. Do free labor for us.
yeah, it wasn't even like I was like working a great job or anything. I was literally just making enough to pay rent and, you know,
As it was with all
just to get
pioneers.
by. But they would have been like, well, cut back your hours there. Do less of this. Don't sleep as much. You don't need 7 hours of sleep a night.
Ah,
So you work nights. Make sure you don't miss the service groups in the morning.
God,
Yeah. Like,
that's cult.
so when they were finally like, you know what? You can't keep pioneering. We need to get rid of you because, you're looking really bad at this point.
Wow.
I was like, oh, thank God. There is a
Uh,
God. I'm out.
Peace, bitches.
But yeah, like getting removed as a pioneer was like the best. But they kind of did it under the guise of I have too much going on and I simply can't do it anymore.
Right.
But in reality, it was because they thought I was sleeping with a married man.
Thought you were,
They thought I was
or
sleeping with a
you weren't?
married man.
You weren't?
No, I wasn't.
What were you guys doing?
He just stayed on my couch one night.
Okay.
Oh, like they used to get upset anytime a male stayed in my apartment.
Why?
Even my little brothers. My
Your
brothers.
brother? They said it was inappropriate.
My brothers.
They said it's inappropriate.
Yes, my
That's
little
the most
baby
perverted
brothers.
thing. That's the most perverted thing they could ever say to you.
And I'm sitting there like,
What? Do you think I'm gonna fuck my own brother? Really?
and then they brought up the fact
How
that I had a
disgusting.
roommate. And they're like, well, but they're not related to her. And I'm like, she's like 8 years older than them. They're kids. They're still in high school. Nobody here is interested in them. Like,
Wait, you had a roommate, and so they were saying that your brother
shouldn't stay anywhere near my apartment, whether she was there or not, because she lived there and she might show up. And I'm like, I can guarantee you, she has no interest in my baby brothers. And
Wow,
she's like older than I am, and I'm like, that's not. No.
and who cares that she might or might not? It's like they gotta just control that whole shit and not let it be corrected on its own or
And
whatever.
I'm like, but like there was,
God,
I'm like, it's a tiny apartment. I think we'd know if something happened.
because we're gonna be quick to tell anyways.
I'd be quick to flip out because it's my baby brothers, but beyond that, who cares?
Right.
But they were cool kids, though. Boys were cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any crazy stories at all.
How do you not have crazy stories? When I look back, like now, as someone who's has a normal life, or I look back, nothing I did was really crazy. Nothing I did was in any way wrong or crazy by normal standards. I was a normal
Yeah,
teen.
you were being a kid,
And then I was
right?
a normal early,
But you're not
like
allowed to
in my
do
early
that.
20s. Like I was doing what a normal young
Doing
adult would
stuff that,
do.
right? Lucky you,
Like that's what I was doing. But
because that's why they don't want kids going to college. That's one of the reasons, right?
because they don't want you to do normal things. And I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I was safe. I didn't get into any actual trouble. I didn't experiment with a pile of drugs. I didn't,
Right.
I didn't get knocked up at 17. Like, this whole list of things that I didn't do. And I'm like, I was a good kid. Not by their standards, but by anybody else's. I was a pretty good kid.
Right. I forgot that in my late 20s, I caught back up with some old friends of mine, and there were parties that I was being invited to a lot that I shouldn't have been going to. And, drugs. People were, were doing ecstasy and shit. And
See, I've never
hot
tried that.
chicks. Really?
Yeah.
If I ever recommend anything, I would say you should put that on your bucket list.
Okay, well, if I ever come to visit you, I'll do that.
Make some happen, huh?
If I ever come to visit you, we can do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that about anything else. You don't have to try Coke. You don't have to
No, I
try
wouldn't do that.
that other shit. But this one in particular, I recommend once.
At least once. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
They asked me when I decided I didn't believe it anymore. They asked me if I still believed, and I said no. And they asked me when I stopped believing, and I said I don't think I ever really did believe it. And they were like, well, you had to at some point. I mean, you were baptized. You were
Why does that
pioneering.
matter?
And I was like, it shouldn't matter. But the bigger thing was, I was like, you know what? No. I said I did it because it's what I was supposed to do. It's what my parents expected of me. It's what my family, my friends. And I wasn't one of those that had the double life with the friends outside.
Right.
Because I didn't. And I did what I was supposed to do. When I left, I knew very, very few people outside. And it was like, still the right thing to do. Yeah, like, I don't know. They assume that you believe it. And I think so many within the religion don't actually believe it. But the threat of losing their family, their friends, their lifestyle, that's a really big deal.
Still can't believe you guys were experiencing blowjobs and shit. Wow.
Oh, there was some fun stuff. There was
It-
some fun stuff.
Chicks on chicks action.
Oh, there was lots of that.
Wow, yeah, you guys were way cooler.
It was fun.
But you know, I imagine it's because where you guys are, there's not much to do but to get fucked up and fuck.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Right?
There are lots of big families here, and you wonder why. We have long, cold winters, and there is nothing to
Oh,
do
yeah.
here.
So you guys be getting snowed in and shit.
There's nothing fun to do here even when you're not snowed in, so yeah.
So yeah, people just fucking
Exactly.
getting trashed and fucking.
Exactly.
Right. Too funny.
So, do you have any other questions?
I actually don't. It's funny that you asked me that because we just came right up on an hour.
Woohoo!
We got a podcast.
Woohoo! We did it!
And yeah, I made it through. A little tipsy, a little stoned, but we did it. And anytime you want to come on, the door is always open.
Oh, you haven't listened to this yet. When you listen to this, you might change your mind.
When you listen to it,
Oh,
you're
no.
gonna be like, God, I can't wait to do it again.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to listen to it.
Of
I
course you
hate
are.
my own voice. I really do.
Nobody likes their own voice.
So, where is Chelsea tonight? Was this my fault? She just didn't want to come out and talk to me?
I guess so.
Oh, Chelsea.
I don't know.
Good to ask her about that later.
Chelsea will be on another time. This was you were sitting in this time.
Yeah. Well, it has been fun. Thank you for letting me come on and chat with you.
Thank you. And thank you to the friends for listening. And guess we're out of here.
I promise.
All right, guys, we're out.
See ya.
Try talking to you while you do. I swap places with you just to see things through. Just sing me the truth.